Okay, now we already get the intrinsic value calculated by SVC. So we now trying to compare month-to-month intrinsic value by the end of the September 2010 and the Q3 uh, when the government bond yield is 7.72, we can get two intrinsic value higher and lower band, and we compare in the end of December in the Q4 when the Indonesia government bond reached 7.51%. So we see that intrinsic value changes from the higher band from 5.9 to 6.5 in December, and then we use the same revenue growth about to 24.7% and dividend rate about 5 to 8 million. If we see this chart of Bumi Resources between year 2010 to 2012 by quarter, we see the intrinsic value running, going up for a while and then going down below zero. This shows that the company is not able to keep their profitability. In fact, they're suffering of huge losses, and then the company is now in a big trouble. Now we would like to show you the accounting tricks or the window dressing. There is several items that we have to watch out. Gain and loss marketable securities, profit from insurance claim, interest and tax return, gain loss of foreign exchange, gain loss of fixed asset sales, gain loss of legal action from royalty, patent, etc., declining value of inventory or receivable, gain and loss on asset that purchased before it's due, deferred expenses, difference development expense for versus its conversion. So basically the list of item we have to watch out because it's non-recurring item. It's not a continuous transaction, but it's basically there is an accounting treatment. It's not really appear in the cash flow. What we are looking at a method in the stock valuation calculator, we see the real cash flowing in the net cash flow or free cash flow. This chart or on the slide we would like to show you the performance of Astra International in the last 3-year performance. Astra International is one of the best company in Indonesia, blue chip and big cap. You see the growing from 2010 until today, 2013 Q1. You see in the profit and loss and cash flow, you can find the revenue, gross profit, net profit, gain loss and non-operating free cash flow. And the next part is a balance sheet. You can find the liquidation value and net working capital, and then financial ratio. Our stock valuation calculator tools we display in the form of chart. You can see there is a 2 or 3 line. The blue one is price, the market price recorded from the 3 years ago, and then display in the quarterly basis. and then the next line would be intrinsic value. In this case of Astra Agrolestari, the plantation company, the CPO company, you see the intrinsic value high and low is very close, so sometimes it's difficult to see the gap, but actually there is a gap, but very small gap, because the company operating short-term and long-term debt is almost equal, so there is no big gap in short-term and long-term debt. So we see in this chart, the background chart is color in green. This automatically show this undervalued stock. We can see in this chart that the line chart of price is below the intrinsic value. So the price trading at that moment is lower than its intrinsic value. So we call it this undervalued stock. This chart showing the background in yellow is represent the overvalued stock. There is a company, the milk producer company, Ultra Jaya. You see the line chart color in blue. Here is the market price compared to green line and the red line, the green being the low intrinsic value and the red being high intrinsic value. So we see the price is a bit above the high intrinsic value, so we consider it the price is, of the stock is already expensive or overvalued. Also below the line you can see the numbers. The number is basically represent the chart above. This chart showing the background color in blue represent the stock is on value. The terms on value is the price, the market price at that moment is in between the two intrinsic value. So the price is in between low and high intrinsic value. So this is the stock of one bank, the mortgage bank, Bank Tabungan Negara. So you see price or the line color in blue is going up. This is because at that time the company starting to sell the stock in the market, or IPO. So the IPO starting in the middle of the period. Now how we use fundamental tools in the stock valuation calculator, and other side we use also the technical analysis of the price. How we combine it? To combine basically is already there in stock valuation chart. In our chart, the price of the stock over time compare with the intrinsic value. Is it the same? So basically we can use combination in one chart. In our tool, we also provide the daily information, the daily data of the intrinsic value and the price. So if we see in this chart is looking At the bottom there is a period, it's very close because the scale is daily. So this we show the 30 days of the certain period, how the performance of the price against its value. In this slide, we would like to show you our intellectual property right granted by Indonesian government in May 2011 on stock valuation calculator lasted for the next 50 years. Alright, before we going to the last part, which is question and answer, I would like to indicate some opportunity for the people watching from the other countries. Basically, our tool stock valuation calculator can be applicable anywhere in any country or any stock market in the world. I just want to show you in this slide what I'm envision that our tool stock valuation can be posted in the, let's say, a Wall Street Journal. So we put it the one of the blue chip company in Indonesia, Astra International. So we combine or we insert our stock valuation beside the existing features like the price chart of the company. It show you the current price at this moment, and it can be displayed how much the intrinsic value of the Astra company. So I think it will be opportunity if we can work together.